Today I'm going to try to get my mobile game to run on this absolute toaster of a tablet. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, basically, a few months ago, I started working on my dream cash grab mobile game called Bad Road. And then in my last devlog, I added a bunch of stuff to the game to make it more addictive, like new cars, particles, sound effects, gambling, sort of. And yeah, this was all really cool until I tried to actually playtest it on my phone, and I realized I'd pretty much just turned my game into a slideshow. Basically, all this new stuff has just made the game really laggy to the point where I literally cannot run it on my phone, which isn't exactly great if you're making a mobile game. So that's why in this video, I'm planning to totally optimize the game and hopefully get it to not only run on my phone, but also at the end of the video, as the ultimate test, I'm gonna try running it on this old toaster of a tablet that I found. And I promise you that's not an exaggeration. This thing can like barely handle having more than like 3 tabs open. Also, for reference, this is what my mobile game looks like running on the tablet right now. As you can see, I'm getting around 10 frames per second, so yeah, not that great. So if I can get my game to run on this thing, then I'm fairly confident it'll be able to run on pretty much anything. So let's get started. Now, it turns out I don't really know anything about optimization, but after doing some research, apparently there's actually quite a lot of things you can do. So I've gone and made a list with a bunch of stuff I'm going to try in order to make this game as optimized as possible. Step 1, graphics. Now, the first thing I did is some graphics optimization, and by that I mean I just messed around with the rendering settings, and now everything looks really bad. Oh, but don't worry, I fixed it, sort of. Basically, I had to totally get rid of shadows because real-time shadow calculations are apparently pretty demanding, but then that made everything really dark and contrasty, and I didn't like that. So I've instead decided to just make everything much brighter and basically not do any shading at all. And this is what it looks like now. You can let me know what you think in the comments, but I actually think this fits the game style, and more importantly, it should hopefully make everything run a whole lot better. And I say hopefully because from my PC, I can't really tell if what I'm doing is actually increasing the FPS. It's just always at 120. But we will see in a bit when I actually try to run it on my tablet. Anyway, another thing I can probably optimize is my code. Now, for instance, I'm using blueprints in Unreal Engine, but something a lot of people will probably tell you when you first get started is that you shouldn't overuse the event tick node, because it's basically an event that triggers for every frame that the game is running, which can obviously be pretty demanding if you don't necessarily need it to fire that often. So yeah, minor blunder, but like basically my entire game runs off of event tick. But not to worry, it should be totally fine as long as I just use timers and stuff instead and only trigger them when they're actually needed. More importantly, do you know only a small percentage of you guys are actually subscribed? That is ridiculous. I reckon we should all subscribe right now. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I also did some other optimization stuff, but nothing really major. So I think it is now finally time to see how the game runs. Okay, so after doing some optimization work, I've put the game back onto my phone, and it actually runs pretty well. So when I run it now on my phone, I'm getting pretty consistent, like 60 FPS, which I'd say is pretty good. Obviously the main thing I changed was the graphics and stuff. There's obviously no shadows anymore, and everything looks kind of like plasticky, but I actually think it fits the style of the game, and it definitely makes it run a lot faster. Anyway, so now that we know that it runs pretty good on my phone, I think it's time for the ultimate test. Okay, and here it is. I think I've done pretty much all the optimization I can, and I've gone and put the game onto the tablet, so let's see how it runs. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna film this because I don't know how to get the screen recording working on this tablet. I don't think it actually has screen recording, which is kind of stupid. I'm just gonna play it and then I'll overlay some other footage next to it. Still takes a while to actually load up. There we go. All right. Okay, it definitely looks a little bit less laggy, just like from the front page. As you can see, that like little like hand icon, it moves a little bit less jittery. Anyway, okay. Oh, wait, let's check the FPS. Dude, okay, that's not that bad. I managed to get it from about 10 or 15 up to well, it looks like right now it's doing 20. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, it's still pretty unplayable, at least on the tablet. I might go back and change some other stuff, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think there's any way I can actually get it more optimized than this. So I don't think it's my fault. I think it's just that this tablet like genuinely sucks. And if you still don't believe me, here's me trying to run Subway Surfers on it only moments later, which as you should be able to see is also very laggy. So it is not my fault. Anyway, I then decided that was gonna be enough optimization and immediately started implementing more things to slow down the game, like driving particles, which I tried to add in my last devlog too, but I've actually decided to stick with these ones. I think they look pretty cool. Another thing I never ended up adding in my last devlog were some new road sections. I remember at the start I had all of these ideas for obstacles I wanted to add, but then I never really got around to actually adding them, so there's still just been these 3 that I made originally, which is getting a little boring. I always thought it would be pretty sick if there was a jump ramp obstacle, so I got to work designing this yellow ramp, which yeah, you can see me doing right now. And then I obviously had to get the logic working for the jump. Here I wasn't sure if using physics entirely would be too unreliable, so I tried giving the car a set jump path, but this ended up looking terrible. I decided to just launch the player a certain height in the air depending on how fast the road is moving, which means they always land in roughly the right place after completing the jump without flying over the whole road. And look, now there's a jump ramp. How cool. And once this was working pretty well, I made another particle effect and modeled a simple landmine. I put these on another section, and now there's a landmine section where guess what happens when you drive on a landmine? Yeah, you explode. Who would have thought? But yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been up to. I've just playtested everything again on my phone, and I'm still getting about 60 FPS, even with all of the stuff I added. So I think I've still been pretty successful in terms of actually getting this game to run on my phone. To be honest, at this point, I don't really care if the game isn't totally smooth and perfectly optimized. I just can't really be bothered, and I mean, I've called the game Bad Road. So I mean, if it's a bit janky, then I can just say it's a feature. Also, I know I haven't uploaded for a bit. Actually, the intro for this video was like 4 months ago. I've just been pretty busy, and I've been working on some other stuff too. But I think I first do still want to try and get this game somewhat finished and released, because that is what I said I'd do. Which is why in my next video, I'm probably going to figure out how to fill the game with lots of ads and microtransactions. So stay tuned for that, it might be out soon. If you have any other suggestions or ideas, please let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please subscribe so we can hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Okay, bye.